Hello everybody, Chris here, and in this video we're going to be covering the Doaide application, a new to-do list that's available on Android and in the near future iPhone as well. And I've been asked to create a tutorial for this application from the Doaide team themselves. So today we're going to be walking through the app, and I'm going to show off some of the main features that help set Doaide apart from the competition. So if you are trying to find a to-do list application, you may be a bit concerned about how complicated the app may be. Some people may be quite new to a to-do list application, while others want something that has a lot of features available. So with Doaide, they have 3 views for viewing all of the content within the app. If you click on the eyeball in the top left-hand corner, you can see Simple View, Medium View, and Advanced View. So with Simple View, it's very much comparable to having sticky notes where you write down tasks you need to do and actually writing down the time that you're going to go ahead and do those tasks as well. If we open up the Simple View, we can see that it is very simplified. You don't have any user-created lists. It will not show those here. All you have is the ability to filter by the day and whether it's completed, and then if you have any overdue tasks, you can see that as well. To create a new task here in the Simple View and any other view, you would simply go down here to the bottom right hand corner, hit the plus sign, and you can add a to-do here. With the Simple View, it is incredibly simplified. All you have access to is the ability to type in a name for the task and the ability to set a due date by left-clicking there. And you can see you can choose from daily repeating tasks, weekly repeating tasks, monthly, yearly, or just have a simple one-time task. Also, ability to set reminders, which will give you a notification on your phone when those tasks are about to be due. Now let's go ahead and go back to the view list and check out the medium view. Here they add in a few more features that are still available in the free version of the application, namely the ability to set your own lists, which is pretty helpful if you want to stay organized. Maybe you want some of your tasks to be specifically for work and you want to keep those separate from your family business. Well, that is very easily doable. So when you go ahead and create a new task in medium mode or medium view, it adds in some extra abilities, like the ability to choose a list, to set priority stars, add in subtasks, and add in notes. Now, here's a quick trick for you. If you're going to go ahead and add in subtasks, what you can do is you can press and hold on the plus icon, and it'll bring up subtask title. But because we pressed and held with a long click, we're going to have the ability to create multiple subtasks without having to re-click on the plus button. So here I'm going to add in task 1. Let's just keep this simple. Create immediately pops up with another window to add in a new task. So we'll do task 2, task 3, task 4, and you can see how this makes it really quick and easy to actually add in tasks. When you're done with that, you can simply hit cancel, and if you want to add in one task at once, just hit the plus button. So let's go ahead and go back to the main dashboard, and you'll also notice in medium view that we have 2 icons up here in the top right, the calendar and the timeline. So in calendar view, we can see the number of tasks that are assigned for this month up here, and also the number of overdue tasks for this month currently. For each day that also applies. We can see that Thursday the 3rd has 1 task and 1 overdue task, and then on the 8th to the 31st, we have 1 task which is repeating for each and every single day. If we click on any of the dates that have a task assigned, we can open up the timeline view and see at what points during the days those tasks actually need to be completed. So here we can see there's nothing going on from the dawn, the morning, the afternoon, the evening, but we do have a task assigned in the night. So it would be due at 9:32. We can see it's overdue actually because it's listed in red text here. And also up here at the top, we can see that one of our tasks is in fact overdue since this is a previous date. If you ever want to edit one of these tasks while you're within the timeline view, all you need to do is press on them to open them up, and you can change the information located within. Likewise, you can use the checkbox over here to complete a task quickly, and the 3 dots over here on the right to open up a settings menu for more options. Now let's go ahead and touch on the most powerful view in the Doaide application, which is Advanced View. Here we're going to have a tabbed dashboard, which you can see right here in the front, that we have the ability to go to the default and My List tabs. In the default tab, all of the user-created lists are removed, so we can see simplified categories such as the number of tasks we have assigned with no due date, and if we opened that up, we could see a listing of those. The number of tasks which have no list, also the overdue counter, note the red text there, and a few other filter categories. However, if we go to the My Lists tab, all of those filters are removed, and all we are left with are the user-created and custom lists, which we can manually put our tasks into. When you're working in Advanced View, you have some pretty powerful options available to you. For instance, let's say we were going to go to our overdue tasks and we actually wanted to change the date or time on them because they were overdue, we haven't gotten to them yet, so we wanted to reassign them. Well, if you click over here on the Settings menu for this task, we can use QuickTime and QuickDate to very quickly change that without having to press on the task and change it a bit slower in here. So let me show you what I mean. With QuickTime, we simply open up the Settings menu, go to QuickTime, and with these tabs, we can very easily pick a estimated time throughout the day where we can complete the task. So let's say we changed it to be today at 9 p.m. because we just wanted to get it done before we went to bed. Well, click night and it'll immediately change the due date on the task. Now let's go back to that same task and assume that we actually wanted to change the date to something that wasn't today. Well, we can use QuickDate for that, and by opening up the QuickDate dialog box, we can choose a easy option like tomorrow, next week, or we can choose one of the days in the next 2 weeks as well. So let's say we wanted it to be 4 days from now. Well, let's just go out 4 days to Saturday the 12th, left click on that, and the date is immediately changed. We don't need to do any other steps. Perhaps the most powerful feature of Advanced View, though, is the ability to set in different types of to-dos. So if we go to the plus option to see what's available to us, in addition to what we had to medium, we also have some other tabs here. We can do the simple plain old to-do tasks, or we can go over to multiple choice blank or counter, where whenever we complete our tasks, we have the ability to set in some extra information, which can be very useful when we look at statistics in the Doaide application. For example, with multi-choice, what we're going to try to track is whether or not we go out to lunch on a daily basis, which will be really convenient because it allows us to use yes and no. However, if you wanted to add in custom options, you can do so by pressing on Add Option over here. And if you want to add in multiple options at once, simply press and hold. And then it will allow you to set multiple options in quick sequence of each other. But here, yes or no, did we go out to lunch? But in order for this task to work properly and us to track the statistics, we would need to go to due date. But let's say that we only go out to lunch generally Monday through Friday, or those are the only days we want to track. So here we're going to have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday checked, but we're not going to check Saturday and Sunday. If you wanted to get a pop-up reminder, you would simply hit Enable Reminder here, but we'll just go ahead and confirm this. And finally, we need to add in a title to the to-do task. So I'm going to give it the title of Restaurant Today and confirm our task. Now let's go ahead and confirm our task is completed by selecting the Yes option. And it will ask us again tomorrow if we went to the restaurant or not. So let's actually go ahead and select that and say we did again. And then once for no. Now, I keep mentioning the statistics. If you want to actually check out the statistics for a repeated task, what you need to do is go into that task, click up here in the top right hand corner where you'll see a few bars. Looks kind of like a bar graph. Click on that and you'll be able to see some of the statistics for our task. For instance, with this multiple choice task, we can see how many times we said yes, how many times we said no, or any other custom options we added in, how many are overdue, how many are pending, how many we've already completed, and the total number of reiterations in this task. Now, if you do want to see it in a nicer manner, simply go over to Graphs, and you'll be able to see it in a nice pie chart. We can see that since we said yes twice and no once, 66.7% of the time it was in fact yes, and 33.3% of the time it was no. Finally, with the History tab, we can see our most recent selections for this task. So it was yes, yes, no. So we can see this in chronological reverse order, that we said no most recently, and before that we had 2 yeses. And at the very top, we can see that for Friday, March 11th, our answer is still actually pending. Lastly, for statistics, you'll notice this option over here in the top right-hand corner, and this is the filter. If you have a lot of iterations over one task, perhaps you've been doing it for months, but you don't want to see all the data for months at the same time, then you would come up here and you can set a range of dates for this task to actually display. So it could be just in the last day, it could be the last 30 days, or it could be this entire year. So for instance, I can click on the start date not set that to yesterday. And for the end date, we'll set that to today. And then go ahead and filter this. Now you'll notice that although I completed the task 3 times today, only the task which I had set to be due today is actually going to show in that date range. So it's based on the due date, not the actual completion date. Now let's go back and cover the other types of to-dos, which are blank and counter. So for blank, it's similar to multiple choice, except that instead of selecting from one of a few predefined options, you have the ability to fill in a text field and write whatever you want as the answer on each completion of the task. So here our example is going to be how we feel at a certain point during the day, and it'll be the same time every day, but just to kind of track how we are feeling, let's say when we get home from work at 5 p.m. So I'll go ahead and set the due date to daily, and we'll make the time 5 p.m. with a quick selection there. Go ahead and confirm the repeated due date. And perhaps the default answer would be happy, or you may not want one at all. It could also be sad, or anything else. You could put in hello Bob if you wanted. Literally a text field. It's really up to you what your default answer is. But here I'm going to go ahead and leave it blank because I don't want that to influence our decision. So it'll be our emotions at this time as the task name. Add it in, and let's complete it a few times. So selecting the completion checkbox, we're going to say that we were sad today at 5 p.m., but tomorrow we were happy. And then the third time, we were happy again. And maybe the fourth time, wrong task. The fourth time, we were angry. So let's go ahead and check the statistics on that task now by opening it up, going to the statistics up here. And we can see we had 2 times the response being happy, once the response being angry, and once being sad. With the history, once again, we can see the order in which we gave these answers. So finally, with the counter to-do type, we can work with numbers a little bit easier than the other types. So we can set a default count for when this task is completed as to how many of whatever we were trying to do got completed, or whatever size we were trying to buy, if you were measuring it in kilograms or liters, whatever kind of number you're trying to track. In this case, I'm going to have the unit type set to cups. The default is unit, but here I've changed it to cups. And we're going to be talking about cups of water per day. But this is going to be a task where we actually use the advanced view only due date of manual to do, which is different than daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly, in that this task will be immediately recreated every time we complete it, and it won't have a due date set. So we can just complete this as many times as we want, instead of being reminded once a day, once a week, or once a month to go ahead and complete it. So for tasks you don't know how many times per day you're going to do, the manual type of due date is quite useful, but it's only available in advanced view. We should note that. So the idea here is going to be with the cups of water task. Whenever I drink a cup of water in real life, I will complete this task, which will have a count of 1, as in we drank 1 cup of water. And then later on, we can look at the statistics after we've done this 10 or 20 times for several days, and actually figure out how many cups of water we're drinking per day on average. So I'll go ahead and complete this task. So here, because this is a manual repetition task, we can complete it, have it set to 1 cups, mark it as completed, a new task is immediately added, and we can do this as many times as we need to throughout the day. Another good example of when you could use a manual repetition task would be with exercise. You don't know how much you're going to exercise in a given day, and you don't know exactly how much you're going to exercise. So instead of setting a specific due date, you can just simply come in here and complete the task whenever you do decide to exercise. So let's go ahead and complete that here. And let's say we did it twice. Now finally, let's go ahead and open up the statistics on this task and see how we did. With the counter to do type, we have a couple extra fields available to us as far as information goes. The total number, which we have done for this task over all time. We did 4 tasks today, but it was 1 cup per task, so that's 4 cups. Average count, factoring in the number of days that we actually had completed this task for, and how many cups we did in each of those days. With graphs, we'll come back to that in a second, but for graphs to really work, you have to have data tracked over time. But history, we can once again see how many cups we were doing per repetition in reverse chronological order. So in order to kind of make this available to us where we can see the graph over time, I'm actually going to change this to a daily to-do type so that we can fake actually doing this task in the future. So let's change that, go back, find the task, and complete it, and we'll say we did 6 tasks on or 6 cups on that day, and then in the next day we did 3, and then 6, and then 5. So let's go ahead and take a look at the statistics graph here. So by using the graphs, we can analyze our data over time and figure out what's going on with our general to-do list trends. So here today, we've covered many of the features currently available in the Doaide application for Android and in the near future iPhone devices as well. I'll be leaving some links down in the description if you want to go ahead and check out the app with a free download or to visit the website. But if you do decide to upgrade to the Pro version, you will get access to the advanced view where you can use the different to-do types and also have access to view the statistics for each of your completed repeatable tasks. So with all that said, I've been Chris, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.